Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, Gamer K, and we are finally in the month of August, 2026, and I've got a lot of good videos planned for this month. And to start it off, it's something I've been meaning to do for a good while, but never really got around doing it. Kingdom Hearts has been one of my favorite series since number 2, because that's where I found out about it. When I first saw the trailer for it when I was a kid for number 1, ironically enough, my sister wanted to play it because of all the Disney characters. And if I ever find a way to get her to play it just once, I'm going to be counting every time she dies. It's going to be the longest Traverse Town video ever. But in general, it's been an amazing saga. With the exception of number 1 and Chain of Memories, both Game Boy and PlayStation, and the Union one, and that rhythm game that they decided to come out with. Yeah, no thanks. I played every single one and beaten every single one, with the exceptions of Chains and First. Don't look at me that way. There are some people who don't finish every single game in a series. Speaking of which, I should really try to find Uncharted 1 and 2 to beat those. Maybe Lost Legacy 2. I'm getting off track. I am going to be doing a video on the best villains of the series. Organization 13. From amazing personalities, despite them not having emotions and hearts and anything, from their amazing boss battles to their incredible story relevance in the series later on. Okay, and to be honest, I did play a little bit of Chain of Memories back when I was younger, and they were just so mysterious. Like these hooded figures that were so different from anything else we faced in Kingdom Hearts. And then when they showed up in Kingdom Hearts 2, I had no fucking clue what the hell was going on. Yeah. I just thought they were cool. And also the first time ever Sora actually killed someone outside of Ansem. Everything else has been Disney bosses. So, yeah, technically the first non-Disney characters other than Ansem that Sora ever actually killed. So, it was good to see something unique, different come along later. So I'm going to be ranking every single member of Organization 13. Now I'm going to clarify a couple things, because this is a ranking video, so some things are led to a little bit of interpretation. 1, I am counting only the original members, not the Seekers of Darkness from number 3. Because if I do that, it's going to be a short fucking list, because they're pretty much all Xehanort, just with different what's the term? Same product, different packaging. Secondly, I will be going over all 14 members, because yes, technically she did become a member, and she does have personality and character, so she will be looked at. So that's all 14 characters of Organization 13. Also, I will be going over them personally on my perspective of the characters, from their boss fights to their designs to their weapons to their useful elements and to anything else that they've had in the game. And honestly, before I did this video, I had to watch other people's videos of how they kind of went about it, like Josh Scorcher, one of my favorites. So just to get on his perspective, and boy, him and me do not agree a lot on a lot of the organization members and where they rank. So let's get down to it. This is me ranking every member of Organization 13.
Of course. Don't you know anything about science?
Really? That was the joke we went for? Huh. Continuing. Vexen, the chilly academic. Great character. Not gonna lie, his design is pretty good. The bright green eyes with his blonde hair and his... You know what? I really love that they did something very different with him. When I first saw him in Chain of Memories, I thought, okay, he's the smart guy. He's going to be using something that keeps him away from us, like a gun, like a cannon or something. And I'm not going to lie, Ice Shield. Very ingenious. Very ingenious. But here's and his boss fight in the data and the emissary, whatever, again, I'm just calling them that, really cool. Having his shield being, so he can collect data on us with his little logo, and then he can freeze us, and then create clones of us. I like that. Being the smart one, he would obviously have something else fight for him. I'm just a little miffed that we didn't get any Nobodies based on him, or XIII or Lexaeus, which is bad because those three deserve something. Although they didn't really, I mean, they came back in number 3, but they didn't have any Nobodies. I may be going off script a little bit, but that's what I do anyway. I don't have a script. So I'm not gonna lie, his boss fight may have been cool, but the fact that that it can all be melted away with a little fire, another weakness that 2 organization members share in common. Not only that, but him actually being the one that almost tried to tell Sora about the plan in Castle Oblivion right before our favorite hothead terminates him. So yeah, first one in the list and first one out of the organization. So I find that kind of stupidly humorous. Sometimes the strong silent type is meant to be a good thing in a character trait. Not so much with the next entry and the second bottom of the list, Lexaeus. I thought this guy's design was great. Very simplistic. Love his hairstyle. Love that he barely said a lot during Chain of Memories. And seeing him go toe-to-toe with Riku and be Riku's first actual challenge with us. Again, still great. And his element of Earth. I was expecting something very, very, very dumb. But I'm going to give it to Square. They know damn well how to make interesting weapons for each element. And his tomahawk blade? Are you fucking joking? That thing could literally break Riku in half. Just like, I'm surprised it didn't. If it wasn't for Square Enix's ability to give people protective armor somehow, and that swung he did at Riku in his stomach, I don't know how he got up. But again, his boss fight in number 2 definitely gave me a run for my money. With having this power scale system that they did, where he gets exponentially more powerful, meaning our hits are going to be taken a lot harder. From creating giant earth pillars coming up at us, breaking our backs with the tomahawk blade, and to just going giga impact on us. But I do love that our ability for reaction command was to use his power against him by increasing our power in order to deal massive amounts of damage on him. I do like that trope, using the brute strength against him. Which, again, loved it. Only problem is, again, much like Vexen, unlike Vexen, where his boss fight was a little bit more easier to do, kind of somewhat like Lexaeus' battle, it didn't take me so many tries to do it, but at the same time, his character is an issue with this. And yeah, he's just not present a lot in a lot of cutscenes. Even in Chain of Memories and 358 Days, okay, that's kind of bullshitting because he does speak, but it's all in text. where he showcases us our limit break ability by having low health, by literally punching Roxas in the face. Give it to the man. He knows how to make a point. So, yeah, Lexaeus, one of the big powerhouses of the organization and one of the earlier members, like Vexen, but again, very low on the list because he doesn't really do anything a lot. And as much as it was cool seeing their human forms in Birth by Sleep, once again, they do absolutely nothing. I mean, good God, Lexaeus, anger control issues. Seek therapy. Okay, now this next entry, 3 things. 1, I love this character to no end, and I think she is a much better improvement than the actual female main character that we have. 2, she's a lot more competent in combat. Even though her abilities were borrowed from 2 people, she still managed to make it her own. And her own boss fights, okay, yeah, implicated that she still stole a lot of information, but at the same time, still made it her own and made her a challenge. 3, I am so annoyed that they brought her back at near the end of the last game just to make her feel completely pointless again. Xion. Basically, Kairi with a darker haircut. Don't know. I have no clue. Although I will say is that Xion was a good addition to Kingdom Hearts 358 Days. Definitely filling in some lapse of memory. Too soon? From what happened during Castle Oblivion and obviously Kingdom Hearts 2. Because we do get some cutscenes that show stuff that happened before, you know, Roxas got the Truman Show treatment. Xion being a nameless, faceless puppet that's only real goal was to absorb Roxas' memories of Sora and to become an extra spare key. Oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, enough of that. Let's continue with Xion's boss fights. Form 1, she takes us to the Wonderland area and gets a Sonic Blade wings treatment. Boss fight Form number 2 takes us to where Oogie Boogie's manor used to be and gets a creepy looking Keyblade that gives out Ragnarok. No, not that Ragnarok. Third form brings us to the Agrabah keyhole domain of the lamp chamber where she goes all Kurt Zisa on us with 4-armed blades. Final form, she brings us back to the clock tower of Twilight Town where she becomes gigantic size with giant blades and somehow makes us an air glass arena to fight so we don't have to fly, because flying in this game is tantamount to pain. But she gives it all she's got. She is not wanting to go down easy in these boss fights. And a couple things I really do enjoy about this boss fight. 1, each form is basically one of Sora's previous combo attacks that he does in Kingdom Hearts 1. 2, each location is where the keyhole is in said world. Because we got the Wonderland Tea Room, we got Oogie's Manor, we got the Lamp Chamber, and we got the Tower. And her death scene is absolutely the most gut-wrenching thing in the world. If you didn't cry at her death, and then the mission later where it showcases some of her being erased from everyone's memories, and then you are absolutely a heartless or a nobody. One or both. Now, yes, I said I loved her Verify. Xion's boss fights in 358 Days, fantastic for a final boss, and will forever be remembered as one of my favorite boss fights in Kingdom Hearts. Worst side, her boss fight along with Syax in Kingdom Hearts 3 is quite literally so lazy. I'm not even going to talk about any of the other Kingdom Hearts 3 boss fights for the organization members that actually returned. So yeah, why is she still near the bottom of the list? well, she quite literally doesn't do anything else other than that. I mean, it's great that we get her back in number 3 at the end, but again, it comes right out of, we know what was gonna happen. There's no real shock value there. So her story is basically just 358 days, and then we get to save her near the end because they lost someone, so now they had to make a new vessel. Although I will say I'm very happy that we got her in actual clothing in the end of number 3, so there's that. XIII. I don't have a lot to say about her in this, so let's just get down to the brass tacks for her. She's the speedy one of the group and member number 12, which is ironic considering, she's number 11 on this list. Okay, wow, one above. Her weapon are kunai, which are which I gotta admit, for a lightning element character and not have it being a sword or something, and having it just be daggers, very, very interesting. Blonde hair, blue eyes, so she's basically a mean girl of the group. Constantly teasing little Naminé when she's imprisoned. Check. Constantly baiting Sora by playing on his emotions for a girl he thinks he likes. Check. Constantly being evil and irritating everywhere she goes. Check. Having a temper tantrum every time things don't go her way. Check. Her boss fight of using illusion duplicates of herself, basically after images, that are basically thunder. Check. Using a reaction command to hurl an after image into her in order to damage her. Check. Literally going ferocious with lightning attacks on us. Check and check. Yeah, basically, I do like XIII, but again, her personality is great. Her boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 is great, but other than that, when she comes back, she's not as energetic or hyper or evil as she used to be. I mean, it's almost like they brought the organization members back in number 3 just to be kind of, oh, hi, remember us? Oh, no, wait, you don't. Let us reintroduce ourselves by being uninteresting. But again, I don't like her being... But again, having her on this list this low isn't the worst thing in the world. I just like better characters. Next.
They made her emo.
Wow, first time I ever had to use that. Yeah, very ironically, a character that had so little in the game. He's one of my favorites, but he's still lower on the list. XIII. I am more mad that we didn't get anything about him more in Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Basically, he was the only one left other than Axel. So he decides to try to use Riku's darkness to his full effect. Failed miserably. But I do like his design. This kind of dark blue, gray tinted hair with his emo look. Seriously, how has Hot Topic not had a XIII section? Anyway, one thing I did not really know that much about him until I played his boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 was his element is illusions, surprisingly. Which actually kind of makes sense considering he pretended to be Sora in Chain of Memories. And his weapon I never saw in the cutscenes, but the lexicon, a book? Interesting. Although, I'm going to be honest, if they did do something with that in Chain of Memories, he could have had the book with him constantly, and he could have taken cards out of it to throw to Riku and kind of trick him with those cards. Something like that to kind of showcase his weapon. I mean, everyone else in Chain of Memories got to show off their weapon, so why not him? When going into his boss fights,
You'll get so sick of the fucking books attacking you, you'll swear you'll never read again.
if you are so unlucky for him to use his illusion magic on you, he will trap you in his book dimension, where you will have to do a couple of reaction time minigames. From flipping through your book of commands to find the right command, to playing basically Simon Says to get into the right book section. Miss and it will rain down meteors on you. Hit the book a number of times to dispel the magic and to bring us back to the floating island Destiny Islands part. And then after Riku defeats him, he's another one that Axel gets rid of, giving the Riku replica some extra energy by telling him to absorb Zexion. And the reason he got rid of one of the younger members is because, to quote Axel, you just found out way too much. You know, you could have had this guy working for you when you got back to Organization 13, and to corroborate that Marluxia and Larxene were turning turncoat, so you could have had him help us. Why is it always the emo ones that ruin everything?
Do you know the manager's offices?
Over there. Thanks. Wasn't that Jesse McCartney?
Yeah, I was going to go with them just saying his name over and over again because that happens so often in the game. But I wanted to go for something that I'm probably never going to get to use again, and it's hilarious. Yeah, Roxas is still on the bottom half of the list. I love the guy. Honestly, his whole rebellious stage and wanting to discover who he was and everything was great. His boss fight is a goddamn pain in the ass, though. And honestly, I'm glad they incorporated it into Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. Because just the cutscene did not do it justice. Did not make us feel like we were literally fighting ourselves. Even though he got way better attacks. And again, using the Oblivion and Oathkeeper is straight up genius for his design. But again, and also, I'm going to say this, having that little nudge in 358 Days where Xigbar is fighting Xion, and she looks like someone who looks like Roxas. Nice little nudge there, Kingdom Hearts and Square. Maybe next time, instead of nudging us a little bit on what could happen next, maybe give us something next. But overall, I'm digressing. Roxas is a very great character with a little bit of an attitude problem when people keep lying to him. Yeah, I would be too. Boss fight aside, he is definitely one of the better written characters of Kingdom Hearts. I mean, honestly, honest to God, I kind of like him a little bit more than Ventus. Because I just feel like Ventus goes on his emotions a little too much. And he always jumps to Terra's defense, even though he doesn't know what the hell was going on. Roxas, on the other hand, will literally ditch his friends in order to find out the truth. So, there's that difference between them. But again, Roxas, really, really glad that you're finally your own person again. And the fact that you showed up out of nowhere is one of the better things that happened at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. And we got a great reunion with the trio. Oh my God, I am so happy. Now, only one trio can stay together for longer than 5 fucking minutes. Seriously, you fix 2 trios, but one is still an issue. I need a drink. Alright, a lot of you already know what it is. Literally dubbed the most annoying Kingdom Hearts organization's member ever with the most annoying boss fight. But you know what? Okay, he is all that. But I'm not gonna lie, there are just some things about Demyx that I freaking love. From his cowardly persona that is absolutely downright hilarious, to his carefree and laid-back attitude, and I'm sorry, I didn't know what to expect from him when we first saw him in Olympus Coliseum. And then when we actually got to see him, I love his kind of rock band haircut, kind of. It works. And then when I was getting ready for his boss fight, I'm like, okay, what is this guy going to do? Because we didn't really get that much information about him right from the get-go. So his haircut alone just gave me a really cool vibe about him. But his cowardly personality and laziness made me think it was going to be another boss fight where we just have to sit around and he sits around and do... Okay, he creates water clones with a giant-ass guitar. Okay, this shouldn't be too difficult. And he adds a time limit? Well, time limit bosses. How the hell has this guy never been on one of those? Not gonna lie, even though a lot of people find it annoying the first half when we fought him, but I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't that difficult. Just defeat the water clones, use reaction commands to destroy a lot of them, and use what magic that you have in order to decimate the rest of them. And I had no clue when we were going to see this guy again until the Hollow Bastion, and once again, he shows off how cowardly he is, that he'd rather not be there. But then he gets absolutely serious and showcases one of the better weapon summons in gaming, where he uses a bubble to create his sitar. And actually puts up a goddamn fight. And then his defeat is a little bit on the sad side, with him vanishing before our eyes. Okay, this is the thing I really think people are going to find annoying about what I'm about to say. Lazy characters doesn't always equal lazy boss fights or lazy development. And then the show really starts with Demyx's boss fight. Him sending bubble showers at us, water geysers at us, jumping across the field in order to attack us, and then trying to hit us with the right chords, and then doing his water dance thing a good number of times during each boss fight, each with a little bit of... How is it that characters that have no hearts know exactly where to push buttons? Again, a character that actually had a story relevance within a world. And it wasn't for the sake of just interfering with us, but actually had a point. Replacing the good-looking Gaston in Beast Castle for some reason, we have Organization's number 3, Zaldin. God fucking damn it. This guy pushing Beast to the brink of darkness by plucking at that final aspect that he had, the love of Belle. And I don't know what it is, but it's just kind of this monotone voice with the very lack of empathy, or any lack of anything while he speaks, is fantastic. It gives a nobody what he's supposed to be. Basically so nonchalant and all business. Not only that, but we don't even get to see what he looks like until our revisit. And good God, and again, I had no clue in Kingdom Hearts 2, I had no goddamn clue what anything was going to happen. Because YouTube was very scarce back then. I had the guide, but I didn't want to spoil it. So, and when we get his reveal, he's got fucking dreads. Holy mother of God, this guy has dreads. And again, he may be the most ballsiest member of the organization ever. Not only does he threaten to go after what the beast loves, completely misdirects us. While they're having their ballroom moment, Xaldin proclaims he's going to take what the beast loves, and he does. So we fight off the Nobodies, and Belle is safe. But again, he steals the rose. And then when she finds the rose, Xaldin takes Belle. But not before the cutscene in the foyer where he basically proclaims that Kingdom Hearts is needed for them to be full and complete. And he fucking trolls Beast when Beast tells him to leave his castle and he'd rather travel light. Which should he leave behind? Belle or the rose? Basically, again, putting that manipulation to good use and basically saying to Beast, what do you want me to leave and what do you want me to take with me? What is more important to you and what is less important to you? It is a top-notch moment. And then, his boss fight begins when Belle gut checks him and takes the rose. And we get his fucking boss battle on the bridge where he creates 6 tornadoes and grabs 6 spears, 3 of them in his hands and the other 3 being guided by the wind while he's floating in the air. And if Demyx wasn't proof enough of how harder the organization bosses are going to be, because think about it, Demyx was our first boss fight with the organization with full controls. And his first fight was just a finish in time. Don't even have to beat him. And then we fight him for real. And he was hard. Him and Demyx are the first aspects of how difficult the organization is and how their bosses are so fucking unique that you never feel like you're fighting the same one twice. From jumping at us and landing on us with his wind, using his wind shield and turning his spears into a large dragon to release a cyclone breath at us. I can count on my entire family's hands, my family and my cousins, on all their hands, the number of times it took me to beat this fucker for the first playthrough. And god damn it, was it not an enjoyable fight. And then to see him just wither away as his spears land in the ground and pillars of light shoot out of him as he vanishes. Our first one-time boss fight with an organization member, and it turned out to be absolutely badass. Xaldin, you did your job well. And as much as I love you, there are just so many better bosses. There are just so many better members. But the other members have just a little bit more to offer. If only we could have done that. Ironically, another emotionally stunted character and the organization's second in command, goddammit, Saïx. This guy, again, has a presence like he knows what he's doing. And he also knows how to play with people's emotions. And that's what makes him a great character. Saïx, again, having the elf ear designs, the long blue hair, the X mark on his face, definitely gives him an aura of self-importance. Plus, every time we see him, he screws with Sora. Every single goddamn time. In Twilight Town, he messes with us about Kairi. And in Hollow Bastion, he plays with our... Okay, first... And then he makes Sora plead to bring him to Kairi. Sora literally gets down on his knees and pleads for him to take him to her. And in this, his, again, monotone voice, he basically says no. And tells Sora to use that anger against the Heartless. Knowing that defeating the Heartless is what helps their scheme. But if they don't, people will get hurt. Saïx is second in command for a reason. And I haven't even gotten to this fucker's boss fight yet. With the element of the moon, I didn't know what to expect. And I didn't even know what his weapon was going to be. Because we've had, up until this point, we've had sniper rifles, cards, a guitar, lances. So I was expecting a whip or something. But no, we get... Help. The Claymore. My God, this thing looks cool when it's closed. But then when he's fully embraced by the moon's power, it opens up and reveals a giant, wicked battle axe kind of look. And using his own weapon against him is so satisfying and going berserk. But again, Saïx's design, his importance in the story, his personality, his big fucking still grudge against Axel for basically abandoning their friendship, basically. Because, again, in 358 Days, we do get a little bit more between them of their past. And basically... having that they basically fell out of sorts, and Axel chose his friendship with Roxas over his long-standing relationship with Isa, or again, Saïx. But god damn it, did they not make him a badass in every single game. Even before the final fight, number 3, he shared one last ice cream with his best friend before the final fight. It was like a moment of peace kind of moment. But just, God, seriously, they made him so badass. Okay. Uses young ones in order to achieve his goals. Has a lot of feminine qualities. Pink hair. And loves flowers. Who am I talking about? Not him, but although now that I think about it, I do find it kind of weird that kind of thing happened twice. But no, I am talking about the main villain of Chain of Memories and overall one of the coolest looking design members of Kingdom Hearts, Marluxia, the graceful assassin. And even his entry in the first few cutscenes of Chain of Memories. Again, I didn't think that much of him. And again, the flowers that came out of his hood when he revealed his face to us. I didn't know what to think. And again, in the cutscene, it's mentioned that he's number 11 in the organization, while Vexen was number 4, and he demanded respect. Then he threatens him with his giant scythe. Nature and Grim Reaper. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I buy it. Not only that, but how great he is at manipulating. Basically, him and Larxene basically wanted to use Sora and Naminé's powers in Castle Oblivion to throw a coup over the organization and take over. Well, not without our fire-headed Axel getting in the way and basically making things more difficult than they need to be. And even though his calm demeanor and his looks, he is very threatening, showcasing in his second to last boss fight where he brings one rose petal and creates his giant scythe. Seriously, I love him. Plus, his boss fight in Final Mix is more than makes up for that his final Nobody form in goddamn Chain of Memories. For having a doom counter put on us. For every time we get hit, our counter drops. And it is equal to our max level. So, if you're thinking about taking him early on, good luck. From sending his weapon into the ground to create a buzzsaw at us, to creating portals of darkness and flowers that ensnare us. But yeah, Marluxia's boss fight has the feeling that you're going up against a Grim Reaper, but it's done beautifully. It's crazy to imagine that kind of concept with the element of nature, but it works so well. And I'm very glad that we at least got something that gave him a dazzling and beautiful end. Basically, when the boss doesn't really trust you to do the job, so he implements himself in every single project. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. XIIMNAS. The leader of the organization is number 4 on this ranking video, Xemnas. My God, how many times have we fought this guy? Once in Kingdom Hearts 1 as a secret boss, good number of times near the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, once in Dream Drop Distance, and one time in number 3. Seriously, this guy is the leading poster boy for, okay, you fought me before, but how about again? No. As much as I love Xemnas and Richard Epcar's voice, okay, seriously, no lying, realizing that Myotismon himself is voicing this guy is tantamount to making him even more badass. And plus his element of nothingness, are you kidding me? And having lightsaber hands. God, I would love to see what this guy looked like when he goes up against Sith Lords. Being the literal bad guy of number 2 and a good majority of 358 days from manipulating Roxas and Xion throughout the majority of the game. Not only that, but Xemnas is literally just doing what his other half was supposed to do. Although I will admit, I do like that both versions are part of the same dude, but they have their own goals. With Ansem literally finding the 7 of Heart, 7 Princesses of Heart, and trying to destroy the worlds in order to open Kingdom Hearts. Then Xemnas find 13 vessels for his master, while also creating a man-made Kingdom Hearts in the shape of a giant moon heart. Didn't really go so well, did it? But again, his boss fights is where Xemnas really, really goddamn shines. From his one-on-one boss fight with Sora on the skyscraper area, to those amazing reaction commands of the closer you get, the more impactful it is. Creating barriers, shooting his lasers at you, creating a whole bunch of his blades. To his final bosses, where he goes ultimate dragon mode, giant armor mode, and for the final, he needed a wardrobe change, god damn it, because what great villain doesn't need a wardrobe change for the final battle? And having a fight with mano a mano with Sora and Riku in this empty nothingness dimension. It was fantastic. From taking Sora for us to have to use Riku to get him back, to that amazing light show everyone remembers, to his final devastation from a keyhole blast, and every other boss fight since. Honestly, his boss fight in Dream Drop Distance wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it definitely was a bit of a letdown. Until his final battle in number 3 with his other variants, Young Xehanort and Ansem Secret of Darkness, which was really, really well done. Not to mention his taunting in Prankster's Paradise and the Grid. Seriously, it definitely gave a lot of thinking. But yeah, leader of the organization, but still only 4th in the rung. Have you got this entry memorized? That's right. Taking 3rd in this list is the absolute flurry of fire, Axel, everyone's favorite smartass. First off, his boss fight with Roxas in the start. Very easygoing, very playful, like old friends having a sparring match. And again, having fire be his element and him, I was expecting something really, really cool. Not twin-bladed chakrams. God damn it, did they decide to go all out for all these weapons. And then for having his full actual boss fight with Roxas to be such an amazing spectacle. Having the flame walls, having every little aspect of it just go awesome. I prefer that boss fight to fighting him as Roxas in his data. Nope, not even bringing up the data fights. Now, his boss fight may be singular in terms of that, but his personality and role in the story makes up for it. From helping Naminé and Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, to then feeling like he's actually gaining a heart a little bit, to being a selfless traitor in number 2, to being the best homeboy in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance. We all love him. Not much more to say about Axel. He's great. Character design is amazing. Battle is great. His element and weapon fit his personality to a T. And as we got even closer to more and more about him as the games go on, every moment with him is just an emotional roller coaster. From the moment of him remembering Xion in number 3, to him having that moment between Xion in front of the mansion in Dream Drop Disc and Birth by Sleep. No, not Birth by Sleep. 358 Days. God damn it, I'm going through all the games here. To meeting Ventus a good decade ago and having a little sparring match with him. Would have been nice if we could actually fight him for that. To literally being one of the best guys in the game, Axel is definitely a great character. And definitely my number 3 of the organization. Yeah. I don't know why people don't like this guy, but I absolutely love him. from his element of time itself to his weapon of dice and cards and his love of games and rules, we've got Luxord. I love this guy. From the British accent to his definitely the most mature looking character of all the organization members, having the kind of short blonde hair with the goatee to the earrings. I just love this guy to no end. His schemes in Port Royal are, again, absolutely fantastic. From stealing the medallions in order to enact the curse to bring about a heartless full of greed, to knowing how rules work by invoking parlay every time he's in Port Royal, understanding that pirates won't go against their code. And even though it seems like he's doing something good, he always screws you over. And I love that about him. From his unique boss fight where you play games with him and you have to get it right or else you'll be turned into a card or a die. What I really do love about Luxord overall is the fact that even though he's a villain, he still kind of plays fair. I mean, when he stole those medallions with his gambler nobodies, he could have easily had them go out to other worlds. But no, he keeps it in the same world in order to give Sora and company a fighting chance. Because he wants them to defeat the giant Heartless that was released in order to further the organization's plans. And then we get him in Port Royal, in the Caribbean, in number 3, and it makes me love him even more. Having even more personality shown. Basically being on our ship and going on the Heartless ship, on a Nobody ship. Basically giving a contest for Jack and Sora. A race to Port Royal. Where if he wins, giving a race contest against Jack and Sora, and he outwits Jack. Basically saying, if they lose, you tell me about the box, and if you win, I will give you anything you want. And we win. Look, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to say this. Luxord or Luxord, whichever. Basically tells Jack he declined to say what he wanted. And Jack tells him the chest that's on the Flying Dutchman. And then, the one thing I do love about Luxord is that, unlike the other members of the organization, when Sora presses for information, he very rarely will give him the information he needs that we want, because he's a gambler, he's a game maker, he's a game player. He doesn't want the opponent to know more than he needs to know at the current moment. And then near the end of the level, when Jack has the goddamn chest, Luxord tries to invoke parlay again. Jack stops him, and his reactions are just so fun. And then he does the they made one of my favorites, a comical gag in Port Royal and the Caribbean. And like I said, his boss fight in number 2 is without a doubt one of my favorite boss fights in general of the Kingdom Hearts series. And, okay, yeah, his boss fight in number 3 is a little bit more toned down, but it still works with him nonetheless. And I don't think we've seen the end of my favorite card-playing Nobody. Because like he said, he likes games and rules. But let's see what long game he might be playing with us. If you've been watching my channel for a good long while, then if you didn't know who my number 1 organization member is going to be, The funny thing is that I love this character the minute he showed up. I've always had a thing for characters that are fun, intuitive about situations, always seeming like they know more than they should. And it turns out I was right. In the original Kingdom Hearts 2, before all the extra scenes from Final Mix came into play, this character is my favorite Kingdom Hearts character of all time. And God, the one character I love the most turns out to be having an intricate part in every single game and basically a reason for the entirety of the story to be had. So do you guys think, like, after his big reveal, he's not still my favorite character of all time in Kingdom Hearts? As if Braig, Xigbar, Luxu, whatever the fuck you want to call him, this guy, the number 2 of Kingdom of the organization and my absolute favorite member, from his style to the scars and eye patch to his ponytail to his 2 sharpshooting weaponry to the element of gravity, to him using both of his weapons as a sniper rifle, to him being voiced by an absolute legend, James Patrick Stewart, aka Valentine from General Hospital, because I've been watching this show for as long as I can remember with my mother. From number 2, from the minute he first showed up at the start of Kingdom Hearts 2, Hollow Bastion, Visit 1, you don't seem like half the hero the others were. That's right. You used to give me the same look on your face. So this boy thinks he's a full-fledged Keyblade wielder. He's definitely got the angry look down. I don't know why or how I just immediately picked up on Xigbar. And then when he appears for some stupid reason in the Land of Dragons and fully reveals his face, no boss fight, just books it. And his boss fight within the realm, in the world that never was, is absolutely goddamn fantastic. Just jumping off the ledge, giving some speech. Again. Everything he says in his boss fights, warping reality around him and going super, super fast with all of his rapid shots. I know I'm talking stupid. Fighting from above, upside down, shooting at us. Everything in his boss fights, it makes me love him even more. His weapon, his combat style, the element of gravity, but everything about him, in character, in the story, is why Xigbar, Braig, Luxu is my favorite organization member. Because like I said, I've always loved characters who always seem to know a little bit more than they should about anything. And it turns out I was right. I picked up on all the little cues, like when he was taunting Sora, and even in 358 Days when he saw this person that looked like Roxas in Xion. It makes sense because he knows who that is. And then, even when he's defeated in number 2, his final words, "Wouldn't you like to know?" carry so much more weight than I thought it would. Because, yes, we would like to know everything. I can't. I absolutely, and then when he's helping in Birth by Sleep, literally helping the guy who he's planning. Like, here's the thing about him. He plays the dumb lackey so goddamn well throughout the entire series. From getting his face injured by Terra for Xehanort's plan, to then acting all pissed off at Xehanort for having him get damaged, losing his eye and then his scar, and then taking on Aqua at the end of her story in order to buy time for Xehanort to merge with Terra, to then having a big role of helping Xehanort when all collectively back together, helping Xehanort for 10 years after Birth by Sleep, being the literal mastermind list in plain sight. And then in Birth by Sleep, in the dreams aspects, acting like he's again a lackey for Xehanort, even to Sora. And then, without a doubt, in Kingdom Hearts 3, after we defeated him, going on about how Xehanort would bequeath his Keyblade to him if he helped. Why else would I go through all of this? Oh, I am worthy. He's fought before. And he's gone up against a lot of them. Roxas, Xion, Terra, Aqua, Sora, technically Riku a little bit. And he's just grandstanding. And then his final moments of him teleporting up to the cliff and falling, and then his guns vanishing. And then the fucking reveal. The reveal that shook the Kingdom Hearts community for the last 7 years. I am so needing of more information about Lushu's past. But I will keep calling him Xigbar, because that's what they call him nowadays. And we Kingdom Hearts fans, we are in for hopefully one of the grandest possibilities that we could ever get. Fighting the Foreseers and having Xigbar be the main villain and hopefully the final boss of the next game. And all of these reasons, from design to boss fights to weaponry to his overarching story in almost every single game, to being one of the main threats, to being the focal point of why we are where we are. Xigbar, from day one, he was my favorite boss and my favorite organization member. And almost a decade, 2 decades later, he still is the number one and my favorite Organization 13 member. And I can't wait to see what happens with him next. Hopefully I'm not in my 40s when that happens. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for my ranking of the organization members. Man, I gotta chop up this video because I did a lot of backtracking, a lot of babbling. Oy, ay, ay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video, and August has just begun. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and join me next week, where it's time for me to... It's taken 20 years of Kingdom Hearts to get me to do this video. And now, almost a decade later, Join me next week, ladies and gentlemen, where I conclude another series. And make sure you save a photo in your scrapbook as we go on to see the ending of our partners in time. This is Gamer K, logging out.